For many years, my morning routine was to sleep as late as I possibly could, to rush to the shower and rush out the door to work. My prayer time and all of those important things in my life had to be worked in at some other part of my day. That time of my life, it was quite challenging. I would often have a disoriented frame of mind to start my day, and there was many days, in fact, probably more bad days than good days, where I didn't actually accomplish all that I really needed to accomplish to have a successful day. And now, thankfully, I'm much more intentional. I put the most important things in my day first, and I'm a ton more efficient with my time and energy than I've ever been in my life. And so, in this session today, I'm going to share some simple principles to help you create a rock solid morning routine. Stay tuned. Hey there, I'm Ryan Franklin, and I would love for you to join me every week as we explore leadership topics that'll help you get the clarity needed to move your organization forward. You can hit the subscribe button and the bell to get notified as soon as I post a new session. And before we get started, I do want to mention that I have a great product called the Christian Leader Blueprint. It's a solid model for leadership development. It'll help you establish a better rhythm of life, see yourself more clearly, leverage your strengths, and build more productive relationships. And I want to give it to you as my free gift. Just go to ryanfranklin.org and you can download the short guide for free today. And so without any further delay, let's get to our session. Your morning routines are the gateway to the rest of your day. In other words, the way that you start your day is going to positively or negatively impact the rest of your day. Neuroscientist Daria Rose says mornings prime your brain for how it will function the rest of the day. And so considering that, my question for you is this. Are you going to allow yourself to sort of haphazardly enter into your day? Or are you going to push yourself to get focused and choose to consciously and intentionally move into your day every day? You need to think of your morning as a gateway to the rest of your day. And so to make sure that it's the best that it can be, I want to give you some tips. But before I do that, I'd love to know if you have any good practices in your morning routines that you'd like to share. I'd love for you to share them on the comments and if you're on YouTube particularly. But the first tip that I have for you, your morning routine is only as good as your nightly routine. And your nightly routine is really, it's all about one thing. Are you getting adequate quality sleep? Now, there's a whole lot that goes into adequate quality sleep, and I'm not going to get into the details of that here today. I'm going to keep it simple. But ask yourself, how much sleep do you need to feel rested in the morning? How much sleep do you need so you don't feel tired and fatigued when you wake up? And most people need about 7 to 8 hours of sleep. That's about what I need. And to fail to get that 7 or 8 hours that most people need most nights, unfortunately, that's going to lead us to a place of fatigue. And there's no doubt that we're going to struggle to get up in the morning. And we're going to struggle to go through the morning routine that's so vital to our next day. It's going to suffer. And so personally, as I mentioned, I try to get 7 to 8 hours every night. 8 is ideal for me. And it's pretty simple. You need to ask yourself, what time do you need to get up in the morning to accomplish your morning routine? And so whatever time that is, count back 8 hours. And you need to go to bed by then. It's pretty simple, right? I usually wake up at 5:30 every morning or somewhere around that. And so I try to go to bed by 9:30. And in order to go to bed by 9:30, there's a few things that are important to make sure that happens. First of all, I try to limit my activity about an hour before I go to bed, because even things that require heavy thought, um, it's amazing that if I'm working on something or thinking through something right before I go to bed, it's amazing how those thoughts will just keep rolling around in my head, and it'll cause me to not be able to go to sleep. And then secondly, I turn the lights down about 15 to 30 minutes before my bedtime. And one of the best things that I've done this past year was I put all of my lights on a Wi-Fi app. Probably many of you have done that. But I recently set up an automatic action where most of the lights in my house, they turn off 30 minutes before my bedtime automatically. And I love this because no matter what I'm doing, it just sort of signals to my brain that it's time for bed. It's almost time for bed. And there's a lot more that I could go into with a nightly routine, but just remember that the important goal with a nightly routine is this: adequate quality sleep. And that's going to help you get up on time. It's going to help you accomplish your morning routine in a more efficient way, in a more consistent way. And if you don't make this happen, I promise you, your morning routine is going to suffer. So next, let's talk about the structure of a good morning routine. Here's an important tip to a good morning routine. Do your most important daily task first. I have to ask myself, what is vital to my day? What's going to keep me grounded and emotionally feeling good about myself? What's going to create a positive rhythm and flow in my day? And you got to think through that for yourself based on your goals and your needs in life. I can't do that for you, but I will say that here's what's important to me. Here's the components that are important to me. My devotion is the number one thing that's going to ground my day. I've got to pray, and I have to have communion with the Lord. And I've got to ingest His Word. Devotion is a vital lifeline for me as a Christian leader that I have to have in my morning routine. And then personal growth is another critical factor. I know that when I get stagnant and I quit growing, I know that that's a limiting factor in my life. And so as a Christian leader, I want and need to keep growing. And so I've got to make time for things like book reading and audiobooks and podcasts and blogs. And I may not do all of those things every day, but I need at least one or a couple of them possibly every day that will help me grow in areas that I know I want to grow in. Personal growth is huge for my morning routine. And then physical exercise, it's an important need as well. And unfortunately for me right now, I'm in a season of having to do my exercise in the late afternoons right now. But ideally, I prefer it to be a part of my morning routine. Most of the time I can combine exercise and personal growth at the same time. I can maybe ride a stationary bike and listen to a book at the same time. And that maximizes my time in the mornings. And then the fourth really important grounding routine for me personally is daily writing. I'm regularly preaching and teaching and creating content. And if I don't write daily, I can quickly fall behind and find myself just full of stress and anxiety because it's all backing up on me. And so the solution is to make sure that this doesn't happen by having a rhythm of writing on a daily basis. It's just another thing that grounds my day. It helps me think through and process things in my mind. It helps me ground my day. And so that's the four most important parts of my routine. You've got to determine what's most important to your day and do your most important task first in your day. But I want to mention a few other miscellaneous things that I found helpful in my morning routine, a couple of things that little side items that may help. If you're struggling with hitting the snooze like I do occasionally, then put your alarm clock across the room and make yourself have to get up and get moving when that alarm clock goes off. And if you're snoozing multiple times every morning, I promise you, that's not quality sleep. You might as well just get up and get moving. And then another thing, one of the first things that I do in the morning is I drink almost a whole bottle of water. I drink about half the bottle as soon as I wake up. I actually put a bottle of water on my bathroom cabinet every night. So it's one of the first things that I do. And then I drink the other half of the bottle after I get out of the shower and as I'm getting ready for my day. You got to think about it. You've gone 7 to 8 hours without anything to drink. And so you're likely pretty dehydrated. And so to rehydrate and to get your brain flowing again and to help you wake up, I encourage you, drink plenty of water as soon as you get up. It'll help you, I promise you. Another thought for the structure of your morning routine, and this will go for the rest of your day as well. I find it so much easier to keep my thinking work, the things that require heavy thought, in the mornings, and do my task-oriented work in the afternoons. I know myself, and I'm much sharper and I have a ton more energy in the mornings than I do in the afternoons and the evenings. And so if I need to really put thought into something such as writing or personal growth and my devotion, I try to do those things in my morning routine. But even as I enter into my workday, if there's something I need to really focus on and think through, I try to do those things early in the day and leave those task-oriented things that doesn't require a lot of thought for the afternoon when I'm not as sharp. And then the next tip for a rock-solid morning routine is don't be afraid to shift with the seasons and maybe even take a short break. Let me just say this. I live in the real world just like you. And I understand that you're not going to have a picture-perfect morning routine all of the time. It may be good one day and then fragmented the next day. I get that. But if you don't have some sort of structure to sort of swing back to when you do have the opportunity, then it's definitely going to limit your progress and your productivity. And your morning routine may be best done in the afternoon for you. Or maybe it's just after work that you need to do it. You may work shift work and you need to make adjustments based on your schedule. If you have young kids that require a lot of your attention, you may have to streamline what you're doing or shorten what you're doing for this season of your life. That's the real world. And here's what I know. The seasons are going to shift frequently. 2 years ago, I spent a year with one of the best routines. I loved the routine that I had 2 years ago. It was one of the best routines I'd ever had. And then this year, my kids' schools changed. And the time that I brought them to school changed. And so I've had to make a drastic change in my morning routines. I love my old routine, but I was forced to do this modified routine. And you know what? It's okay. I'm not going to get bent out of shape over having to change my routine. I'm going to actually try to enjoy this extra time that I have with my kids because I know that this season is going to change in time as well. And I've got to be fluid and I've got to shift with those changing seasons. And I want to mention this. One thing that's good about a routine is that it sort of becomes automatic. I don't have to think about it. I just do it. And that's one of the tremendous benefits of having this morning routine. It becomes something that you just do, and it helps you get those most important daily things done. But sometimes you can get stuck in a rut with a morning routine or any routine for that matter. Sometimes you just need to take a break. And I'm here today to tell you it's okay to take a break. It's even encouraged. It'll help you reset at times and readjust your morning routine to what's most productive to you. But here's the key in taking a break. If you're going to take a break, that's fine, but set a date. Set a date in advance of when you're going to get back to it. And if you take a week off before you start that week, or decide exactly when you're going to start it back. Because if you don't, you're going to find that week turning into 2 weeks, and then 2 weeks turning into a month. And before you know it, your morning routine is nowhere to be found. And so, one more. This is the last thought I'm going to give you to help you create a rock solid routine. And this is really important. Don't let someone else's definition of a good routine make you feel guilty for what works for you. Despite what some people may say, it's not about how early you wake up in the morning or how late you stay up. It's really about what makes you most productive and most efficient with your time and your energy. You have to figure out what works for you. And if you'll wake up in time to start your day with those most important components to your day, you make sure that you get those things done first. It's amazing how that's going to impact you in such an emotionally positive way. Do what works for you. And you will be ready to attack the day if you do that. You'll be ready to get out there and accomplish something great with the rest of your day. A well thought out morning routine can have a huge impact on your life, your happiness, and your success. And so I encourage you, give it a try and see how it changes your life. It changes your day. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Christian Leader Made Simple podcast, and I hope you have a great day. God bless.